Everybody, it's Mark T here, and I'm here to talk about something I have never discussed, other than maybe like I think a couple of times. Now, I freaking love card games, and I'm not just talking about like poker or Texas Hold'em. Really, in reality, I'm very bad at those kind of games, but I freaking love Yu-Gi-Oh! Better example, actually. Yu-Gi-Oh! I absolutely adore Yu-Gi-Oh! And as a kid that grew up in the 90s, I have played through pretty much every ragingly popular card game out there. It all started with Pokemon, Digimon, Magic the Gathering, and then, excuse me, and then eventually I would hit Yu-Gi-Oh! And, again, excuse me, it would hit Yu-Gi-Oh! And then finally it would hit what I consider to be probably my favorite card game of all time, and that is Duel Masters. Now, what I hadn't realized much later was that in reality, Duel Masters was just kind of a Japanese take on Magic the Gathering. They're very similar in a number of ways. I think there may be like slight differences in the rules. I honestly don't remember very much, but I freaking loved Duel Masters. I watched the anime. I collected the cards. I had a lot of cards. I still have a little bit, but I don't have my original deck anymore. And I just freaking love card games. Now you might be wondering, hey, Mark, out of what, almost half of a year of complete silence, why are you coming back to talk about card games right now? Well, here's the thing. Shut up and stop asking questions. But no, seriously, I'm really getting into card games and games in general now. Like, just take a look at Yu-Gi-Oh! Specifically has been on my mind constantly, and I even just spent a significant amount of cash in buying the North American version of the Dungeon Dice Monsters Yu-Gi-Oh! Starter Pack. That is, you can find on eBay if you want to take a look, but it's quite expensive, so I was just maybe like trying to find it somewhere else other than eBay. But yeah, no, I freaking love Yu-Gi-Oh! And I love card games in general. And like I said, it started with just, the kind of thing I like to believe all things start off with. It starts off with just like an interest, I freaking loved Pokemon. I love the anime. I love the video games. And then, hey, the card game's there, so why not play it? And it just kind of evolved to that until really, I think I stopped being so interested in card games when I don't have many siblings, just to clarify. I have one brother who I absolutely adore, and he's like my best friend, and we played card games all the time. But my brother, he was older, he was a little bit sharper in the mind, so he would almost always win, and that always just really sucked, and I would strategize and I'd do better, but I just always, halfway through, I'd just give up on the game and leave it at that. Really more on me than it is him. It's just, it really sucks losing all the time. Whether you imagine it or not, it really sucked. So eventually it just kept happening. Digimon, Pokemon, whatever. But then something major happened, ironically, in my early 20s. There was sorry, a little bit too weird. So I absolutely adore Yu-Gi-Oh! The series. This is the very first manga volume created by oh my god, Kazuki Takahashi. I'm sorry. And I love this original series. The original 7 volumes of this actually focus on a different kind of Yu-Gi, and yeah, if you want to know more information on that, it's just taking a look at Jwitz's video. I'll put a link in the description. And this was a good series, but it was like Yu-Gi-Oh! In general that I absolutely adore. Like this series specifically, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, which is my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga of all time. Like, I love the anime, I love the manga. They're two very different. I mean, the characters are the same, but very different, like, changes between the both of them. But they're both fantastic in their own right. And that kind of just reinvigorated my love for Yu-Gi-Oh! So for so many years, I wanted to find, like, all the Elemental Hero deck, because Jaden was my favorite character of all time. Like, outright. I adored Jaden as a character because, A, unlike Yugi himself, he didn't have some spiritual alter ego that took over to take on the big challenges. Jaden was always Jaden until, you know, the ending of the third season, and then the fourth season kind of introduced like that conceptually. So yeah, I'm not gonna go into there, but you know, I love Jaden dueling for Jaden, and that the basis of his gameplay was always having fun. So win or lose, if you had fun, you never really lose that enjoyment of it. And so that's, you know, a big chunk of Yu-Gi-Oh out of the way. I absolutely adore it, and to the point where I actually have most of his cards. Mostly like the Elemental Heroes and the Neo-Spacians. I absolutely love those decks. But you know, you question like, yeah, GX came out like what, within like the fairly early mid 2000s. You know, but then why didn't I get into it more? Here's the thing. Again, same situation. I kept losing at games. I hated it. I dropped the game. Loved Duel Masters, but again, same situation. But eventually, the biggest thing that would perk my spirits up. One of my best friends introduced me to the store where you could buy specific Yu-Gi-Oh cards instead of having to deal with stupid, incredibly stupid booster packs within a series that you could hope would have the card you're looking for, but you know, it's not the smartest way to go. And number two is the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Dimensions movie, which continues from the end of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist series. And that was like the peak of interest for me. That, and they also released a bunch of booster packs for that movie for the cards within the movie itself. And I have this kind of thing where if I get so into something that it is so extreme, like I have my entire Yu-Gi-Oh! GX manga collection just off screen right now. That's where I pulled the volumes of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX from just now. You know, and it was like the ultimate extreme for me. I absolutely fucking loved Yu-Gi-Oh! And it got me into the game hard. So I started buying more booster packs. I started going to that store more often. And, you know, I made this deck, which is, to this day, the main deck I use. 40 cards. And I don't go for any of the like hyper advanced stuff that you'd seen in something like Zexal or 5Ds. I don't really care about that. I'm an old school player. So that is what I deal with. And you know, that movie just brought out like the younger version of me that absolutely adored card games and just completely inspired me. And that's why I started playing card games again, specifically Yu-Gi-Oh! But I am also trying different card games. And I guess the reason why I made this video was because I like card games and I wanted to talk about it. Now, I don't think I'm going to make this a usual thing for my channel. Again, I don't make much videos now anyways, but I have been going into the works of making like more of a tabletop and card game show for my side channel. I'll be Warp with Trombies with my friend AJ. So that could bring into works and stuff and give us more to do. But I just wanted to sit down and talk about why I think card games kick absolute ass. I know I went on a long tangent talking about Yu-Gi-Oh, but it had a very big role in getting me back into card games and Yu-Gi-Oh specifically. So, if you like card games or anything else, please leave a comment below if you'd like. Whatever. See y'all later.